Countries are spending billions of dollars a year for an event that comes once every 5 years, the World Expo. And it just opened here in Osaka, Japan. Expo 2020 was in Dubai in the UAE. This expo has been happening since 1851, with the first one in London. Osaka won the prestigious rights to host the 2025 event. It's been preparing for years and spending billions of dollars for this moment that will only last 6 months. 157 countries are participating, including the US, South Korea, Spain, Saudi Arabia, and more, spending tens of millions of dollars on their own pavilion to show off their tech, culture, and cuisine. The event is hoping to attract 28 million visitors over the next 6 months. Today I'm going inside 25 countries with crazy pavilions, like the US's $25 million pavilion, to see just how these nations are showing up to the world stage, and most importantly, why are they doing all of this? See, these countries want to promote themselves to investors and to attract tourists. At the end of the video, I will rate my top 5 country pavilions, so make sure to stick around. This is taking place on a completely man-made island called Umeshima. The theme is designing future society for our lives, which basically means let's talk about how we're gonna live better, longer, and more sustainably. So the venue costs around $1.6 billion, but that's just the site. Add in things like security and support for developing countries, and it's another $1.1 billion. But wait, it gets crazier. Once you count all the new infrastructure like subway extensions and roads, the total cost here could hit $67 billion. So with Japan spending tens of billions of dollars on this, people are asking, is it even sustainable? Actually, Japan says yes. The whole expo is built around reuse. See this centerpiece that's a giant wooden ring? After the expo, it will be taken apart and reused. Same goes for the buildings, furniture, and materials. There's even a matching platform to connect leftover items with people who can repurpose them. And when it's all over, this man-made island will be turned into Japan's first casino resort. And that's where it gets a bit controversial. See, some critics say going from a global sustainability showcase to a gambling hub feels off-brand. But Japan is betting on tourism dollars to make it all worthwhile. Other issues here include the expensive cost of participating here. Countries including Mexico and South Africa have totally dropped out altogether because of construction costs. So let's see if all this is worth it and go inside 25 country pavilions. This is the $25 million United States pavilion. And this time the US is paying for its own pavilion, which it did not do in 2020 because US law prohibits federal funding for World Expos. So in 2020, the plan was to raise around $60 million from private companies like Pepsi and Virgin Hyperloop. But the fundraising fell short, and with time running out, the UAE, which was the host country at the time, stepped in and paid the entire bill for the US pavilion. And the UAE also funded pavilions for other countries that couldn't afford to build one, like Syria and Cambodia. But this time in 2025, things are different because US Congress approved and President Biden signed the 2023 Consolidated Appropriations Act, which included $25 million to support the pavilion. And this was actually the first time since 1992 that the US government allocated federal funds specifically for a pavilion at World Expo. So here, the US pavilion is called Imagine What We Can Create Together, and it's got a pretty wild design. There are 2 triangular buildings that are connected by a suspended cube, showing off everything from the Grand Canyon to New York City. And inside, you will go on a journey with this animated character, Spark, which is the pavilion's mascot. It's a character designed to guide visitors through the experience and basically represents American creativity and imagination. The pavilion is split into 5 main themes, focusing on stuff like tech, space, education, and entrepreneurship. Thailand. The Thailand pavilion is called Vimana Thai, and it's all about spreading happiness and wellness. The design features a steeped, curved roof inspired by traditional Thai architecture, creating a welcoming and serene atmosphere. Inside, the pavilion showcases Thailand's strengths in medical care, wellness, and traditional wisdom. You'll even find exhibits on herbal medicine, healthy eating, holistic health practices, highlighting how Thailand wants to blend ancient knowledge with modern innovation. United Arab Emirates. The UAE is called Earth to Ether, and it's actually one of the biggest ones here at the entire expo. The whole design is inspired by the date palm tree, which is a big symbol in Emirati culture. But they didn't just copy the look, they actually used real palm waste from date trees in the construction. And it's mixed with Japanese wood building techniques, which is kind of a cool collaboration. Inside, the pavilion focuses on a few big themes: healthcare, space, sustainability, and innovation. My highlight is seeing locals sing their traditional music while the attendees stopped to enjoy and listen. There's also a restaurant restaurant with Emirati food, a shop with crafts and stuff, so it's a good place to chill and get a taste of the culture. The UAE is trying to show where they're headed in the future. It's modern, but grounded in tradition. Spain. Okay, this is one where you need to start by walking up a lot of steps, but let me just say it ends up being worth it. Spain invested about $28 million into their pavilion, and it's called Kuroshio's Current, and it's all about connecting Spain and Japan through the ocean and the sun. The design is inspired by Kuroshio Current, a powerful ocean current that has historically connected Japan and the Philippines, and by extension, Spain. The pavilion's architecture reflects this connection, symbolizing the bond between the two countries. So when you walk through this, you will go through a multi-sensory experience that takes you along the Spanish coast, and you'll encounter projections, sounds, interactive displays, exploring marine biodiversity, the blue economy, and climate change. It's a surreal experience being here and seeing all the music and colors. The pavilion also showcases Spanish innovation, highlighting trends in science, tech, and design. Oh, and at the end, you can buy things like olive oil. Jordan's pavilion is called Weaving Possibilities, and it's designed to give visitors a calm but immersive journey through 10,000 years of Jordanian history. The pavilion's design is inspired by the traditional Jordanian red and white scarf. So you go through about a 10-minute experience that mixes visuals, storytelling, and design to reflect Jordan's identity. Jordan imported a few tons of real desert sand from their desert Wadi Rum. I've actually been to Jordan, and it was really cool to see its exhibit here. What also makes this pavilion stand out is that it was fully designed and built in Jordan by students. Oh, and at the end, they're giving you a free sample of its local yogurt drink. Turkey. The Turkey Pavilion is called Heyday of Civilization, and it's all about blending ancient heritage with modern innovation. The design features wave-patterned vertical profiles symbolizing Turkey's Mediterranean and Black Sea coasts. Inside, you'll find immersive exhibits showcasing Turkey's rich cultural heritage and tech. It's a bit bare inside, I will admit, but I go upstairs to the restaurant. I wish you could smell how good it smells right here. And I order a pide, the famous Turkish cheese flatbread. Malaysia. Malaysia's showing up to Expo with a pavilion called Weaving a Future in Harmony. So the outside is wrapped in bamboo with patterns inspired by songkit, a traditional Malaysian fabric. It's low-key beautiful and was also sustainable because bamboo, natural ventilation, and solar panels are all part of the build. So inside it's split into 3 sections. The first is all about daily life in Malaysia. Then it shifts to Malaysia's tech side, stuff like smart cities, biotech, and sustainable innovation. Finally, there's a nature section with a big handmade installation called Tree of Harmony. And yes, there's food. They're serving nasi lemak and other classic dishes. India. Well, this is awkward. A few days into the opening of Expo 2025, and India's pavilion is not open yet. Apparently, they're investing nearly $48 million into this event. That's twice as much as the US. But what good is all of that if they're not even open yet? All I know is that this pavilion is supposed to cover 3,500 square meters, and it is designed to showcase India's advancements in areas like space, tech, digital innovation, renewable energy, tourism, and culture. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a lot at stake because it recently just won the rights to host World Expo 2030. So as you walk in, you're welcomed with a garden area filled with native plants. It's a nod to the country's rich landscapes and how they're working to protect the environment. Inside, the pavilion is packed with exhibits and highlights the country's culture, tech, and what is coming under its Vision 2030 plan. You'll also get to explore Saudi's goals for sustainable cities, tech, and renewable energy. Another cool thing is that they're using eco-friendly tech throughout the pavilion. So apparently they're using energy-efficient systems and rainwater harvesting. It's all about reducing the environmental footprint. Plus, the pavilion is designed to be repurposed after the Expo. So this isn't just temporary, but there will be a ton of cultural events throughout Expo, like traditional music and dance and some modern art installations. Australia. The Australia Pavilion is called Chasing the Sun, and it's basically a walkthrough experience that feels like a bushwalk through Australia. So think native sounds, trees, and even koalas popping out of the walls. It highlights indigenous stories and Australia's connection to nature, but it's also got a more modern side, which is supposed to show off Aussie innovation and culture. Outside, there's a laid-back area with a stage, a yarning circle, and a cafe where you can try some Aussie food and beer. Now, Australia is spending around $60 million on the whole thing. That's a big deal. I don't really see where all of that is going.
Monaco.
Monaco's pavilion is called Take Care of Wonder, and it's all about blending Mediterranean vibes with Japanese serenity. The design features a mix of olive trees, citrus plants, and aromatic herbs, creating a calming atmosphere that connects nature with culture. Inside, the pavilion showcases immersive experiences that highlight Monaco's commitment to the environment.
Azerbaijan.
The Azerbaijan pavilion is super unique. It is inspired by an epic poem called Seven Beauties by Nizami Ganjavi, and that's reflected in its design. So the pavilion has 7 giant arches, each representing a different part of Azerbaijani culture and values like art, sports, and natural resources. On the outside, you'll see these amazing stained glass patterns. They're a huge part of the craftsmanship, and they make the pavilion look pretty cool and intricate. Inside, it's a bit bare, but the vibe is all about blending culture and tech. So you experience Azerbaijan through displays, which make it feel pretty modern and engaging.
Indonesia.
The Indonesia pavilion is built to look like a giant wooden boat. It's a nod to how Indonesia's history is tied to the ocean, and it's all about mixing tradition with where the country is headed next. They use this eco-friendly material made from rice husks and recycled plastics for the walls, which is pretty cool. Inside, you'll find exhibits from across Indonesia. Local governments, ministries, private companies are all here showing the company's diversity and green goals. It's not one of the biggest pavilions, but it's over 2 floors, so they packed in a lot.
Belgium.
The pavilion's design is inspired by 3 states of water: solid, liquid, and gas, symbolizing transformation and the essence of life. This concept reflects Belgium's commitment to sustainability and innovation. So here you can explore Belgium's advancements in life science and healthcare. Apparently, Belgium has allocated a budget of about $20 million for this pavilion. The investment covers construction, exhibitions, and the visitor experience. The pavilion has 4 zones representing different parts of Belgium, but the best part about this pavilion is that you get a free cookie when you enter.
Singapore.
Singapore is investing about $26 million in its pavilion, and that budget is covering a lot of different things. The pavilion aims to offer an immersive experience through art, animation, food, and music across the 3 different levels. So this was a really cool immersive experience because at one point you get to write down what is your dream, and you can write whatever you want, and then you go up a set of stairs and then you'll see your dream written on the sky. I thought that was a really kind of unique thing that they did. At the end, they also have their famous Singaporean food like chicken rice.
Portugal.
Portugal's pavilion is all about the ocean. The building looks like waves made from suspended ropes and recycled fishing nets. This is super on theme with sustainability. So inside, it's split into 2 main sections. One highlights Portugal's maritime history and ties with Japan, and the other focuses on ocean innovation and sustainability. It sits on 1,800 square meters, and Portugal is using this space to show that it's serious about the future of the oceans and doing it with style. They spent an estimated $22 million on this. And there's also a Portuguese restaurant, a retail space, and an event area.
Qatar.
The Qatar pavilion is all about mixing the country's maritime history with its future ambitions. So the design is inspired by traditional boats. It has this cool flowing shape and makes it look like it's gliding across the sea. The white fabric covering it gives this whole thing a sail-like vibe, which makes sense considering Qatar's long connection to the ocean. Inside, Qatar shows off the things that it's working on to diversify its economy away from oil and gas. Things like sustainability and tech. It's also a chance to see how Qatar is positioning itself globally in business and trade. The vibe is futuristic, but with a nod to the past, and it feels like a good mix of tradition and innovation.
Canada.
Canada's pavilion is all about regeneration, so it draws inspiration from the way frozen rivers thaw in spring. The outside of the pavilion has this cool icy look, symbolizing renewal and the changing seasons. But when you step inside, it's a whole different vibe. Warm, welcoming spaces that really show off Canada's open and optimistic spirit.
France.
The France Pavilion is all about love. It's inspired by 3 kinds of love: love for yourself, love for others, and love for nature. The pavilion's design looks like an open theater stage, and it invites you into this journey where you'll walk the space and then you'll eventually reach a rooftop garden, giving off serious vibes of environmental sustainability and a return to nature. But what really gets interesting here is that there is a whole section of Louis Vuitton furniture. So Louis Vuitton teamed up with a Japanese architect to showcase their iconic craftsmanship. craftsmanship. And then there's a section with Dior, which brings you on an immersive fashion experience. And there's a section of Celine, and there's also a selection of Moet Hennessy, where you literally feel like you're inside a champagne bottle. It's a really cool feeling. Now, on top of the glitz and glam, the pavilion's design is super eco-friendly with a recyclable structure and a living roof that helps keep the building cool. This one is really all about celebrating French culture and showing how love and sustainability can go hand in hand.
The Philippines.
The Philippines Pavilion is designed to showcase the country's rich cultural heritage and its forward-looking vision. So the architecture here features traditional Filipino elements like bamboo and palm, combined with a modern design to create a blend of the past and the future. The pavilion also serves as a platform for cultural exchange, so there's going to be performances, workshops, culinary experiences, things like that.
Ireland.
The Ireland Pavilion is quite creative. The design pulls inspiration from a Celtic symbol representing unity and continuity. Now, it's built with 3 circular structures that represent Ireland, its relationship with Japan, and the spirit of collaboration. It's got this cool open vibe that shows off the creative side of Ireland. One of the standout pieces is a massive sculpture called Magnus Rin, meant to represent harmony and the passage of time. You'll find it at the entrance, and trust me, it grabs your attention.
Luxembourg.
The Luxembourg Pavilion is meant to connect people through shared experience. So the theme, called Doki Doki, which means heartbeat in Japanese, explores feelings of identity and belonging. It's like a visual journey through art and photography, diving deep into what makes us all human. At one point, you can even look inside a refrigerator with foods that are produced in this small country.
Germany.
The Germany Pavilion is all about sustainability, and the theme is the circular economy. Germany's putting in a whopping $55 million into this pavilion. And this is fully government funded, meaning it's not tied to any corporate interest. So the main focus is on spreading a message about sustainability in the future. So right as you enter the pavilion, you're handed a little buddy that kind of serves as your microphone and like a voice assistant, and you put it next to your ear and it guides you through the pavilion. The pavilion itself has 7 circular wooden structures symbolizing the cycle of life and the idea of everything being connected and reused. It was a really cool experience, and at the end, you'll drop your little guide in this slide and it'll roll down.
Japan.
The Japan Pavilion is all about the theme Between Lives, so it's focusing on cycles of life, death, and rebirth. The design features a massive wooden ring made from Japanese cedar, which symbolizes the continuous flow of life. Inside, visitors can explore interactive exhibits that showcase Japan's advancements in tech and sustainability. So this is crazy, but the Japanese government is investing about $243 million into this pavilion. This is a massive budget for Expo, but despite the hefty price tag, the pavilion aims to leave a lasting impression on visitors and highlight Japan's commitment to innovation and environmental sustainability.
Korea.
The Korea Pavilion theme is with heart, so it features interconnected halls that explore AI, renewable energy, and future mobility. So when you arrive, you'll go into a little booth and you'll say whatever you want. You'll say something that gives you hope, and then literally you can hear what you said later in front of everyone. Next, you'll blow into these pipes and bubbles will come out, which is pretty cool. It's meant to showcase Korea's commitment to sustainability. And then you'll end in this big room where it's a big screen which blends digital projections and symbolizes the fusion of heritage and innovation. The pavilion is a huge investment by the Korean government dedicated to showcasing tech and culture. Okay, now it's time to share my top 5 pavilions. Let's call this the Uptin Awards. At the 2020 Expo in Dubai, my top countries were definitely Germany and Japan. But let's see what happens this year. I have to give an honorable mention to Germany because of how clever it was. You have a guide as you enter and you learn about the circular economy. It was very educational, but it's not going to make my top 5 this year. So in 5th place, I'll give it to Spain. It was a totally unique experience to walk all the steps and then work your way through this artistic journey. 4th place, I'm giving it to Belgium. The waterfall as you enter and the overall vibe was just relaxing and unique. 3rd place goes to South Korea for the opening scene where you go into the voice booth and then the entire uniqueness of blowing bubbles that fall from the sky. 2nd place goes to Japan. This was incredible how they thought about every design detail, and the storytelling and education elements were phenomenal. And in 1st place, I will give to France. I'm super impressed with how big this was, how each experience felt so unique from the other. It was designed incredibly and truly reflected its art, business, and culture. But let me know below, what is your favorite one from the video? And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe.